everyone well? Yes? Right. Turn the pages to where I wrote the whole mantra. Very briefly, some just basic translations of the Gayatri mantra. There is a special text in Sanskrit which actually deals with the relationship of the Gayatri mantra with the Shri Vidya. You know what Shri Vidya is? Science of Shri. I'll not go into that right now. That's a whole different area. And just write these figures for me somewhere on a sheet. Someone who is initiated into Shri Vidya, which is closely related to the solar science, is higher than any monk, greater than any Swami. Wherever he sits, that place becomes sacred. You know, in your body there are places of pilgrimage. You know that little book of mine, Blessings? And one of the blessings, there are about 400 blessings in it. One of the blessings is, may you visit all the sacred places of pilgrimage without leaving your home. And they're identified as to which place is sacred to whom. The word for a sacred place of pilgrimage is Tirtha. The sacred place of pilgrimage to sanctify the body, the fingertips. The sacred place of pilgrimage to commemorate ancestors under this first finger. Sacred place of pilgrimage to honor the celestial shining ones under the little finger. Sacred place of pilgrimage to the holy fire in the hollow of the palm, and the very Lord, the place sacred to the great Lord Brahman himself at the root of the hand, and so on. Your entire body is in this way a place of pilgrimage. If you study the Shinto and Buddhist Japanese tradition, for example, they view the entire country as a body, and all the different parts of the country are different parts of the body, and because they are different parts of the body, then they are sacred to such forces, this force or that force or that force. Now, you can learn to visit these sacred places. The text I'm talking about that deals with the relationship of Gayatri mantra with the Shri Vidya is the author says that there are this many translations of the Gayatri mantra. I couldn't read the figure, so this morning I asked my son-in-law to read the figure for me into English, and it says it comes to 32 quintillion 768 quadrillion, whatever that is. And there is a meditation to go with each one of those translations. So you name number which I shall explain this weekend, and I shall explain that number. The man who wrote that text, not giving all the meanings, but just the relationship of the Gayatri mantra with the science of Sri Vidya, such a powerful man, Bhaskar Rai by name. One day he was sitting on the porch of his house, and a great Swami of very high renown was passing by. Now, the custom is that you see a Swami walking, you get up and bow. And Bhaskar Rai, the tantric master, just sat there. And although Swami is supposed to be above all matters of honor and dishonor, sometimes in practice it is not quite so. I mean, just because I put on orange robes doesn't make me any different. No. And some are Swamis even without putting on orange robes. No. More and more people are being initiated into Swamihood nowadays secretly in that way, because the orange robes are no longer honored, So anyway, so Swami spoke to the council of scholars of the city and all around. He said, you all honor that man, Bhaskar Rai, is a great tantric and learned man, and he has not the wit of humility in him. He sees a Swami passing by, doesn't even have the good manners to stand up and greet, leave alone the give proper honors that are due to a Swami. So the matter went around the city, and little gossip here and little gossip there. As usually happens with people who don't understand many things. So the matter was brought to the Council of Scholars, and Bhaskar Rai was summoned in this society of high traditions and values. A scholar and a tantric master like you have not the humility and the manners to greet a Swami properly. He said, I cannot, for his own sake. Why? He said, I will show you. So they carry this, the monks carry this water pot made of a gourd, the gourd of which the big part of the sitar is formed. That gourd, okay, is cut in such a way and hollowed, and they carry that. And say, may I ask the Swami to please place his water pot over there? And the Swami put his water pot over there, and the great tantric got up and bowed to the water pot, and the water pot burst into 1,000 shards. He said, if I bowed to the Swami, that is what would happen to his head. In the rank of power, he is not where the Master has placed me. The great Master was challenged to a debate on matters of Tantra, and all the great Tantrics, scholars and practitioners were brought, and they all on one side and he on the other side, and answering questions, and they could not understand where these answers were coming from, See, the tradition is such that you can take a dumb idiot and in an instant knowledge by the grace of Mother Saraswati can flow from the tip of his tongue. Shankara, the great founder of Vedanta, had many disciples, great scholars. One of his disciples was not fit for philosophical understanding. He only attended upon the master. When he taught, the disciple would stand in a corner and just watch the master. What does he need? Is he comfortable? No. What may I do for him? Fetch his bath water in the morning, oil his head, massage his feet. Breathe the presence of the master. There was a dumb idiot, and all the other disciples, great scholars, mighty scholars, they did not pay any heed to him. A mere servant of the master, what does he know? The masters have their own way of teaching lessons. A lot of times people turn against the masters and teachers because they don't understand the lesson being taught. No. And that is a great misfortune in the life of a student and a disciple when they don't understand the lesson being taught. No. We are all in that category. No. Someone is being disciplined, another student who is jealous of that one says, good, he is down, I am up. It's a misfortune. That kind of thinking is a misfortune in the life of a student and a disciple. No. So anyway, one day the master decided to teach a lesson to all these great scholarly disciples, and he sent this dumb, idiotic disciple on some long errand. Go do this, do that, come back, okay? And now time for the lesson. Is everybody here? Yes, sir. Oh, no, he isn't here. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, what does he have to do with studies, Why don't you start? Teach us. He doesn't understand anything. We can't start a lesson without one of the disciples. With one student missing, we have to wait. So the master waited, and it sent him intentionally far away, so it would take quite a while for him to come back. I wonder what's happening with him, where is he gone? And everybody is getting impatient. Why doesn't he start the lesson? The fellow never understands anything. What's the big deal? So he waited his own good time, and when the disciple had completed his task, he came back and said, I'm sorry, master, I held everybody up. No, that's all right, come on. You will sit on my seat today and you will teach. Master, I never understand anything. All these great disciples, they are so close to you, they know the lessons. Oh, are you disobeying me? Come on, sit here. He sat down. Teach. The questions that were in everybody's mind that had not been answered by the master, those questions he dealt with in fluid, sonorous verse form, that came from his mouth, came flowing from his mouth. I have seen dumb idiots, I have read of dumb idiots doing 10 million repetitions of the Gayatri and becoming fluent, articulate speakers and teachers. Such is the power of Gayatri mantra. A dumb idiot, if he learns nothing but does 10 million recitations of Gayatri, he is to learn nothing else. I promise you that. And whatever knowledge you will seek and you would want to speak of, you would enter that space in your heart center and you will establish the solar orb, and the knowledge will come flowing from your mouth. Bhaskar Rai, the author of this text, was in this great tantric debate. The debaters could not understand where the answers were coming from. And then someone said to the chief opponent, he said, ask the sage master, where is it coming from? The opponent was granted a vision. It is said that the goddess Gayatri sat on his shoulder and whispered the answers into his ear, and he was only repeating the answers. Or that is what they saw in their vision. Bhur Bhuvaha Swaha. Prakriti, Purusha, and time. Prakriti, the primordial matter, Purusha, the conscious principle, and the force of time. Bhur Bhuvaha Swaha. As well as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. God the progenitor, God the preserver, God the dissolver. God the progenitor, Brahma, God the preserver, Vishnu, God the dissolver, Shiva, Bhur, Bhuvaha, Swaha. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, the three gunas. All of those three. The word Gayatri is a feminine word, and we often refer to it as Gayatri Mata, Gayatri the mother of wisdom, the mother who protects the prana, the mother who protects the one who sings her name. Because if you recall what I have said in my book on mantra and meditation, please allow me this moment to impress something upon you. You think of the sounds you articulate as something you produce. The tradition thinks of the word that is God. This phrase, the word that is God, is a very ancient phrase, Shabda Brahman. Goes back thousands of years, even long before the Greek philosophy, long before the concept of logos. In the Sanskrit tradition, we've always spoken of Shabda Brahman, the word that is God. And the mantras are what? If the celestial ones, the shining ones, the conscious forces, angels and deities, running these various aspects of the whirl of the universe have a body. What kind of a body is it? They say that it is a body made of light. The yoga tradition says it is a body made of light and sound. So that to some, a celestial being, a divine presence appears as a being of light producing sound. To some whose path leads them to the nada, N-A-D-A, the path of sound, do not see the angelic being. They hear the angelic being who is producing light. One of the blessings I have in that book is, may you see the light that, may you hear the sound, may you hear the sound that light produces, may you hear the sound that light produces as it travels through space. Understand the space? May you see the angelic being, they hear the angelic being who is producing light. One of the blessings I have in that book is, may you see the light that, may you hear the sound, may you hear the sound that light produces, may you hear the sound that light produces as it travels through space. Understand the space? May you hear the sound that light produces as it travels through space. And the other blessing I have is, may you see the light that sound produces as it travels through space. Follow? So just as energies of light are bodies of celestial beings, so also the energies of sounds are bodies of celestial beings. So we think of the mantra not as a sound you are producing, however far-fetched it may seem to you at this stage of your experience. However far-fetched it might seem to you at this stage of your experience, we think of the mantra as the sound body of a deity. The concentration of sound, that is the body of a divine presence, a living presence dwelling in you. And it is thus in the form of light and sound that the divine being and the divine beings dwell in the various places of pilgrimage within you. So bhuhu, bhuvaha, swaha. Matter, soul, our God, our conscious principle, and the time are Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, God the progenitor, God the preserver, God the dissolver. Many people use the word destroyer. There is no such thing as destruction in God. The correct term is dissolver. Follow? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. But more than that, Michael, please write. Agni Loka, Surya Loka, Chandra Loka. Agni dash Loka, Surya Loka, and Chandra Loka, Chandra. Okay, a dash on this U. Chandra Loka, also known as Soma Loka, S-O-M-A, put it in parenthesis, Soma Loka. All right, thank you. Agni Loka is up to the heart center, the realm of fire. Surya Loka is to the throat center, the realm of the sun. And Chandra Loka, the realm of the moon above, from where the elixir of immortality, the word Amritam in Apo Jyoti Raso Amritam, from where the Amritam, the elixir of immortality, drips, drips, drips into the heart center. Agni Loka, Surya Loka, Chandra Loka, the realm of fire, the realm of the sun, realm of the moon. In our study of chakras, when we go further, sometime we'll go into the depth of these three lokas. The word loka means a word. You know the English word locus, L-O-C-U-S, it's related to the same word loka. Okay? You know that the English verb to look comes from the same verb root. That which you look at, that which you look through, that which is a shining place, because you cannot look without the shine, without the light. A locus is a place of light. If there is no light, there is no experience of location. The looking at the location, the two words are related. They're from the same Sanskrit verb root. Okay? So the realms of light, the lokas that you look into. Right, again we'll do a little chart. I will not go into the details of it, because I'd ask you to go home and read The Enlightenment Without God, Ma, Bhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha. Then two more columns there. I don't know if there is enough space, but you can try. Come to the very corner here, letter A. Okay. U, U, Ma, Bhu, B-H-U-H, dash on U, Bhuva, B-H-U-V-A-H, dot under H, dot under H there too, and Swa, S-V-A-H, dot, Bhuva, Swa. Now, if you would read that text, The Enlightenment Without God, it speaks of three states of consciousness. wakefulness, dream, and sleep. Right? Wakefulness, dream, sleep. Conquest of wakefulness, conquest of dream, conquest of sleep. And beyond that is that measure of Om which is unheard. Beyond those three. Right? And the levels of the individual soul and levels of the cosmic soul, I have discussed these in my book titled God. All right? Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, the individual soul in wakeful state. Vishwa, creating a world of its own. The individual soul as Taijasa. Please write these words. Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna. Vishwa, Vishva. Taijasa, Taijas. Taijasa, S-A. Taijasa. Prajna, Prajna. P is in Peter. Prajna. Prajna, tilde on N. Tilde. Prajna. Vishwa, Taijasa, and Prajna, the individuated soul. I would avoid the word individual, because in the Vedanta philosophy it is not a permanent individual but a individuated, the individuated soul in the wakeful state, Vishwa, creating a little world of its own. Taijasa, the individuated soul in dream, where it sees by an inner light, and Prajna, the individuated soul in sleep state, where its knowledge has become very limited. Similarly, the manifestations of the divine cosmic being at the same level, in the same way, the corresponding universal consciousness in wakefulness, dream, and sleep, of which Swamiji has written in the Enlightenment Without God, and I have a number of charts placing them in the book titled God. Now you'll have to form the habit of not just reading, but really studying, okay? And I know that many of you have studied. Okay? All of these are under Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha. Conquest of these, rising above them into that realm which is beyond the three states of consciousness. By the constant practice of Gayatri, you would ask, well, should I do my mantra or should I do my Gayatri? If you had time, I would say do both. But more than that, if you had the capacity to let some purging take place, then I would intensify your practice of Gayatri. But it takes some purging, the maculation, you know the term maculation, Sanskrit word mala, M-A-L-A, not the mala, mala, the maculation, which has been gathered around the immaculate soul, that maculation has to wash off with some kind of soap suds and go out in the wash. So that when you will do intense Gayatri, things will happen, that is, things coming out in the wash. Your karma process hastens. See, the karma process hastens. Illnesses that you would suffer over 60 years, you could suffer in 6 days and be done with it. But on the third day, you are ready to quit. And what is this Pandit has given me? So on the day I started it, I'm sick. You are being washed. You're in the washing machine. The poverties you have to suffer over 60 years, you could suffer in 6 months and then emerge triumphant and all the wealth of the world in your hands. And someone comes to you and says, I hear you are a disciple and you know some mantras, my business is suffering, can you grant me a blessing? And you would say, yeah, all right, okay, go, your business will be all right. All of the great mother's treasure, you have become a co-signer on her account. But before you become a co-signer on her account, you have to go through that poverty. You have to abandon everything. You have to let everything be taken away from you. Everything. The mantra, the passage I recited yesterday, Mahyam Dattva, give me these 7. Remember those 7? Give me the fruits of all of these desires, including the desire for the light of God. Then you will go to Brahmalokam, to the world of Brahman. Now, sitting here, you say, yeah, well, I think I could suffer 6 months of poverty, but when it really happens, then you start cursing the tradition. Sometimes you have to forget everything you have learned. There are stories of a disciple going, seeking a master, and the disciple says, I come seeking knowledge from you. And the master says, well, what have you studied so far? Well, I've read the grammar. I'm well known for my mastery of astrology and astronomy, and I've read the Vedas and the metaphysics and mathematics and grammar and wordcraft. So bring all the books you've read. So the disciple brings all the books. They take them on a boat and dump them in the sea, and then come to me and forget everything you've read. Not that easy. Of all the claims, the claim to knowledge is the most difficult to give up. Claim to beauty is easy to give up. Claim to physical strength is easy to give up. Claim to wealth can be given up with some effort. Claim to knowledge is not easy to give up. It's a very subtle trap. Knowledge is a very subtle trap. Now, if you can give up the claim to knowledge and then do Gayatri, after 10 million Gayatris, all knowledge will be at your disposal. You will enter that space in the heart, and the subject you have never read, that subject you will teach. Such is the point. Gayatri is appropriate to mother. The mother. Vedic mantra of And there is a question raised. God, the progenitor, God, the preserver, God, the defender. Shakti, his power, or is it the power, the mother force that empowers him? What is first? The power or the powerful? Shakti or Shaktiman is the question. Is it that the power emerges from him and becomes the mother of the universe and the protector and the savioress? Or is it that because of the presence of power, the great Purusha, the great cosmic person is what he is? You understand the question? Is it the father who makes the mother mother, or is it the mother who makes the father father? This question is not difficult to answer where the father and the mother are two persons. But where the mother force and the father force are intertwined in a biune state, the question is very difficult to answer. So sometimes we speak, read in the texts of the powers emanating from the divine presences and appearing as the mother force, and sometimes we read of the mother force herself creating these powers. Depends on where you want to commune. To do your being male or female, there's no such thing. Because you take this body, so you assume a gender. Otherwise, gender is a myth. It's a temporary shape. Nothing permanent about it. There's no male soul and a female soul. Anyway, so Gayatri herself is often viewed as the Mother Divine. In the morning, she is called Gayatri. At the midday practice, she is called Savitri, because then the sun is ascendant. And in the evening practice, she is called, I gave you 3 names of Gayatri yesterday. Gayatri, Savitri, Saraswati. Gayatri, the protector of prana, because the morning is a time full of prana. It's a time when even the oxygen content is far greater in the atmosphere. And that is why the true practitioners of Gayatri practice it at 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. It is said that the best practice of Gayatri is when the stars are yet in the sky, and then you continue the practice until the sun rises. And in the evening, you start before the sunset and continue the practice until the stars have risen. And midday, it's a midday. Follow. In the morning, you sit with your They sit. I'm not saying you have to follow all of these rituals. In the morning they sit with the hands, palms up, receiving the ascendant sun into all the places of pilgrimage. The rays that emanate from your hands merging with the rays that emanate and descend upon your hands. Those who are into healing practice should learn to connect their hands to the sun rays, and then it becomes the healing branch of the solar science. One of the words for sun's rays is fingers, and one of the words for fingers is rays. So when Judith Hinsey was establishing her little center, she asked me for the name. No, she said healing hands. I said no, make it healing rays center. So she has that as healing rays center because hands are your rays. And the rays are the fingers of the sun. And you learn to connect the two in the solar science. So for the morning practice, they sit with the hands open. For the evening practice, they sit with the palms down. The sun is gone. For the midday practice, you sit with the hands in the lap. But there's no hard and fast rule. I'm not saying now you have to follow these rituals and forms. I'm just telling you how it is done in the tradition for the last thousands of years. Okay? This is subtle language. There are actually 24 mudras, gestures of the hand that go with the 24 letters. Maybe I'll show you. No? And in the practice of your mantra, any mantra, including Gayatri, what you do as external prayers, compare to that what you do as japa, even muttering with your mouth, has tenfold power. Just muttering it with the mouth as compared to outward recitations of prayers. No. Speaking them out aloud, chanting, singing. Compared to that, just muttering the mantra with the mouth has tenfold power. And doing the mantra silently as a word is 100 times more powerful than muttering it with the lips. And doing it only mentally is 1,000 times more powerful than the silent verbal repetition of the mantra. Follow? So that compared to the open articulate utterances of prayer, the mental absorption of the mantra is 1,000,000 times more powerful. What you will gain by reciting a prayer out loud, 1,000,000 times, it is said that if your concentration is really strong, really intent, then what you will do merely as a mental wave. Your japa should become a mental wave, a wave in the mind. See, it's 1,000,000 times more powerful. But you do need to. Now what is the morning practice and the afternoon practice and the evening practice? The practice in the heart is the morning practice. Practice in the throat center is the afternoon practice, and practice in the Ajna center is the evening practice. You would ask, do I mean to say that in the morning you should do in the heart, and in the afternoon you should do it in the throat, and in the evening you should do it in the Ajna center? No, that's not what I mean. Every word that we utter that has an objective meaning has some other internal meaning. You follow? So it is possible for somebody to do his morning practice at midday. You follow? If he has been taught to do it that way. The practice done in the heart center sometimes then is bhu. Practice done in the throat center is sometimes bhuvaha. The practice done in the eyebrow center is sometimes swaha. You are so used to thinking in external terms. The morning is the one when the sun rises, and the evening is the one when the sun sets, that you've forgotten that these words have a whole different meaning. For success in the practice of a mantra, including Gayatri mantra, however, we advise a certain purification of life. Certain purification of life. Moving towards the immaculate. Moving towards the non-material, practicing solitude to a certain degree. Not a selfish self-centeredness. That is not solitude. Some people have mistaken self-centeredness to be solitude. Self-centeredness is opaque, leads to nothing. Solitude is transparent like crystal from which every ray of light reflects. You must learn the art of solitude. Bhu bhuvaha swaha. Sometimes the words morning, afternoon, and evening refer to the particular visage or an image of the mother force that a devotee or a disciple is advised to hold in his heart at the time of the meditation. The morning image is the image of the Mother Gayatri as the force of Brahma, God the progenitor. So sometimes the morning worship means practicing the presence of the mother's image, the great mother's image, as she is associated with the power of Brahma, God the progenitor. Then she is seen as dwelling in the orb of the sun, red of complexion with two arms, having the swan, Hansa, the form of the Soham mantra, as her steed, as her vehicle, as immaculate virgin. Sometimes one is advised to visualize the mother force, the great mother of the universe, in the heart center as the force associated with Vishnu, Lord the Preserver. There also she is dwelling in the orb of the sun, blue of complexion, with four arms going in, touching all the four directions of the world, with 3 eyes, riding the vehicle of Vishnu known as Garuda, the bird of prana. Sometimes one is advised to visualize the mother as the evening force, the force associated with Shiva, the dissolver, again dwelling in the orb of the sun, white of complexion, with 4 arms mastering all 4 directions, riding a white bull. The white bull is the very soul which is the vehicle of Shiva. I, the individuated being, the individuated soul. I have here these 3 pictures as drawn according to these prescriptions: the morning Gayatri, the midday Gayatri, and the evening Gayatri. If someone wants, you can ask there. We have the negatives. Sometimes the mantra may be practiced in the form of a yantra. You know what a yantra is? Yantra is the diagram of forces associated with the particular yantra. It may be on a copper surface, as this one Gayatri yantra. It may be on a silver surface, it may be on a gold surface, it may be on a crystal, right? One can just keep it as a reminder, or one can be taught in one's own good time. Let me just draw the Gayatri yantra for you. There are a number of other yantras, by the way, I have here that are associated with different mantras, and you can ask me about them. Draw upward and downward triangle and a downward triangle in the center, then a circle around, and then 9 petals, and then the bhupura. Actually, you should draw the bhupura first and go inwards. A yantra is always drawn from outwards in. Any mandala is always drawn from outwards in, because it is an inward pilgrimage. Let me do it. Let me do the bhupura for you, then you can do the rest. Study of the chakras. Well, it's not going quite as it should, but anyway. This is called the earth city, on which what did I do here? Yeah. Not drawn to scale, I assure you. Okay, now a circle. Actually, outside the circle are 9 petals. So you have to leave space for the circle in the 9 petals. Okay? Then inside the circle, downward triangle, upward triangle, and then inside that a downward triangle. Richa's question, is there a relationship between Gayatri and Saundarya Lahari? That is what I was talking about, the Sri Vidya. But if you read a text of Saundarya Lahari, any translation, there is nowhere a mention of Gayatri. But there is a relationship. And the one author who has explained this relationship is the one I was talking about, that he bowed to the gourd and the gourd burst into pieces.
And it's not mentioned
because it is a personal matter. It is taught personally. Okay. Okay. You can put a dot or you can assume a dot. Actually, the dot of Om goes in there. Om is written there. And the mantra is written around. 9. Right. There are even certain numbers that go into different corners, and the order in which they go, they have a certain force. Yeah, the numerology, the relationship of numerology with yantras, nobody knows. It's a whole different subject. You can do an entire yantra which is nothing but numbers. I have some of those yantras here actually for different purposes. You can take a look and I can explain to you. And that I have to do individually. Okay. There are also subsidiary Gayatris. Some of you have done those. When I have felt that complete normal Gayatri would maybe too much, I have given you the Gayatris that are related to your personal mantra. And that is the question, that is the answer to this question. Do I do my personal mantra or do I do the Gayatri? And I am not ready for very intensive burning of my maculate parts. Is there something I can do that is easier? And yes, indeed you can do. As I said, there are Gayatris associated with the specific mantras, just as there are yantras associated with specific mantras. So there are Gayatris associated with specific mantras, which are somewhat of an expansion of your own mantra. You understand? And you can do those, and the poverty you had to suffer in 60 years, you would not suffer in 6 months, you would suffer it over 6 years perhaps. No, nothing like that. Don't get scared. People are so afraid of burning. And one of the key words in Gayatri mantra is Bharga, the one who burns. Now, if you want the solar orb to be that close to you, are you the sky big enough to hold the solar orb? If you want the solar orb to dwell in you, are you the sky clear enough, large enough to hold the solar orb and to contain its splendor? So you have to expand. You have to become larger. Your love cannot be limited to yourself only. Your possessiveness, your seeking of honor, your seeking of recognition, your responses to situations, your responses to people who irritate you. What kind of responses are those? Until your maculation, the dust that we have got gathered on and around our spirit is washed and burned, you will not be a sky clear enough, pure enough, large enough to contain the span of the solar orb. Follow? So there are 24 major subsidiary Gayatris. There are 24 letters in the Gayatri. There are 24 major subsidiary Gayatris.
Is the subsidiary Gayatri then is the Om Bhurva Swaha Tatsavitvarenyam?
No. That is the Om Bhurva Swaha Tatsavitvarenyam. That is the Gayatri. And then it has these expansions in the form of the Samputas. But subsidiary Gayatris are Gayatris that are expansions of your own particular mantra. For example, the Hansa Gayatri, which is an expansion of the Soham mantra. Okay? Paramahansaya Vidmahe Mahatatvaya Dhimahi Tanno Hansa Prachodayat. I seek the knowledge of the Supreme Hansa. I meditate upon and sustain in myself the great element. May that Hansa inspire and impel me. That is the expansion, the Hansa Gayatri. You understand? And there are 24 of these related to certain 24 different classes of mantras. Right? You can decide and your teacher can decide what your capacity is, how much time you have available, how much purification you want, how much success you want. Follow? How much grace you want conferred on you from within you. How close you want your hands to go to the rays that emanate from the orb of the sun. How much, the closer you will go, the more you will burn. The more you will burn, the more, the purer your gold will be. It is a path of courage. The path of yoga is the path of courage. Nayam Atma Balahin Labhya. This self cannot be found by a weakling. This self cannot be found by a weakling.